Story 1. I sleep with the door closed because I do not want a shadow person standing in my hallway watching me sleep. Story 2. Door closed and locked. Blackout curtains drawn. Casket lid closed and latched from the inside. Story 3. Always closed. A firefighter once told me to never sleep with your door open. He said that when responding to house fires, he had seen many situations where people who had slept with their doors open had died, while everyone whose doors were closed had survived. Story 4. Closed. The percentage of preventable deaths by open doors is alarming. Smoke, heat, mosquitoes. I am not dealing with any of that, let alone the werewolves. They cannot turn a doorknob, so I will not put myself at risk. Story 5. Closed. I used to sleep with it open, but after waking up a few times with my child's face this close to mine and scaring me, I now close it. They still come in, but the door opening wakes me, which is much less of a heart attack. Story 6. Closed. We have a free roam rabbit upstairs, and we want our phone charging cables and other bedroom electronics to remain intact. Also, waking up with a rabbit licking your elbow is strange. Story 7. Closed. Prevents fire spreading and smoke inhalation in case of fire. Story 8. I live in a studio apartment, so of course it is closed, or I could maybe get robbed. Story 9. Open. I live alone, well, with a dog, in a small apartment. I have only closed the door when I had house guests. Story 10. Closed. I have this thought that if I leave it open, someone will be watching me sleep. Story 11. I live alone and prefer to sleep with the door open. No one is here but me, but I love the ambient lights that I have dimmed in my hallway, like a little night light and better airflow. Story 12. Closed and locked. I like having an extra layer of security. Story 13. Closed. We have cats, and those individuals know only conflict and constantly chase each other around the room. Story 14. Open just enough for my cats to leave and enter whenever they please. Story 15. Both closed because of air conditioning but slightly open because of catalysis. Story 16. Closed for privacy as adult children live at home. Additionally, it is darker. Story 17. If it is open, it is because the cat was in the middle of Zoom eyes and I did not have the heart to close the door. If it is closed, it is because the cat is asleep on my pillow and the air conditioner is on. Story 18. Just slept with it open. I do not have much left to lose. The shadow monster can take me. Story 19. Open. My front door and my neighbors are right next to each other. And with my bedroom door closed, I can't always tell if I'm hearing them coming home drunk or hearing someone breaking into my house, which has never happened. To ease my anxiety about living alone, I leave the door open for better awareness of my surroundings. Story 20. I used to sleep with the door closed, but now leave it open along with the window, as I learned that carbon dioxide can build up over the course of the night, which can have a negative impact on sleep quality. Story 21. Closed. That area becomes a portal to the underworld once all the lights are off, especially in the hallway. The closet stays closed as well. No monsters getting through that. Story 22. Closed. If there is a fire, it is safer. In case of fire, home invasion, or any other disaster, I do not have to worry about our dogs running off into the dark and getting mixed up in something. Story 23. Open because I like even ventilation throughout the night and I want to hear what is happening. Story 24. Closed and locked. In case of an intruder at night, this is the last noise warning I have with a minor delay before I have to react. Story 25. Closed. If someone quietly breaks in through the front door, at least they will probably wake me up by opening the door. It is also more comforting in general to be in an enclosed room. Story 26. I hate open doors. My cat hates closed doors. Guess who wins this argument? Story 27. Smoke alarms are legally required at the entrances of bedrooms in Australia. They will wake me up well before smoke inhalation does. Story 28. Closed. You would be amazed at the difference it makes in a house fire. The outside of the room can be severely damaged, whereas the inside can look almost untouched, even if you have poor quality cardboard doors. I have been to enough house fires where the closed door likely saved someone's life that I will never sleep with the door open. Story 29. Closed. In case of fire, I want to keep smoke and other fumes out of my room as long as possible. Story 30. Closed was ingrained in me as a child about fire safety. Keeping the door closed gives you more time to escape a fire if one were to happen. Story 31. Closed just enough to not see the monsters outside my door. Open just enough to let my cat in. Story 32. Closed because apparently that is safer in a fire. I preferred it open when my children were little, but our house is small and I can hear them when they whisper 4 rooms away because of mom power or something. Then my husband insisted because of the fire safety concern. So every bedroom door is closed when sleeping. Story 33. Closed so I can maybe survive a fire, as the door gives me precious minutes I could use to escape out of a window. Story 34. All the people saying open because of pets. That's the reason I keep it closed. Don't yours want to sleep on your face? Story 35. I used to sleep with the door closed until I decided to let my senior cats sleep with me. I left the door open a crack for them to come and go as they pleased. One of them died in December, so I leave the door open for the other to get her pets and snuggles before she goes to sleep in the hall. I only close the door on nights when my back hurts or I need total darkness. Story 36. When I lived with my parents and our family cat was still alive, I would sleep with the door slightly open so she could come in and cuddle. After a little while, she would leave to do whatever else she did at night, and I would get up and close the door after her. It was a nice nightly routine we had for a few years. Story 37. Closed in winter. Place a small cushion to keep it ajar for the cat to enter and leave. In summer, it is usually wide open for airflow as the room often feels stuffy and hot. Story 38. Closed because I sleep naked. Even though I live alone in my own house, it is a habit I have maintained. Story 39. Closed. My dog otherwise sneaks in the morning and shoves his whiskers up my nose sniffing me, which hurts more than it sounds. Story 40. Closed to prevent my dog from escaping and urinating inside the house. Locking her in seems to stop her from urinating in the room. She is 16 years old and has an aging bladder. Story 41. Closed because my husband insists on it, and I no longer live with a cat that desperately needs to sleep on my chest at 3 a.m. Story 42. Closed. If I do not close it, my cat attacks my feet all night long. Story 43. Closed because I sleep with a white noise machine, and no one likes to hear that. Story 44. I have 2 cats. They will drive me crazy if they cannot do their zoom eyes all night. Story 45. Open with 2 dogs and 2 cats. I was just getting up to let them in or out. Story 46. Open the door so my cat can go from the bedroom to her litter box at her leisure. Story 47. Closed door open is creepy and lets in unwanted guests. Story 48. Doors closed because I don't want to sleep with one eye open. However, if I experience sleep paralysis, I will need to open the doors because I feel trapped with the demons. Story 49. I sleep with the door closed because I cannot sleep if there is light coming up the stairway. Story 50. Only my partner, our dog, and I live in the apartment. The dog's bed is in another room, but he will sleep on the bed with us too. He would scratch at the door if we closed it. Story 51. Used to be closed my entire life because as a kid, being open was simply not an option. Now I live alone and keep that open every single night. I earned it. Story 52. Open when college students are home from school, so we can hear and verify they have returned home for the evening. Closed for the rest of the year due to the old house, ghosts, and unidentifiable noises in the attic. Story 53. Open because my cat will get sad and start crying if she cannot check on me randomly in the middle of the night. Story 54. I have a cat. It doesn't matter if the door is open or closed. I am not sleeping anyway. If it is open, the cat runs around on the bed, generally being a menace. If the door is closed, the cat screams and scratches at the door to be opened. Story 55. If I close the door, my dog or cat will either push it open or sit outside and whine for me to open it. so I keep it slightly open. Story 56. All my doors are closed and locked at night. A few reasons. Chance of fire. If an intruder gets through the first door, it means I am safer and it keeps the boogeyman out. Story 57. Slightly open the door with a fan outside blowing fresh air in. It is closed enough to block light, but the fan circulates the air. I do not want high levels of carbon dioxide in my room while sleeping. Story 58. As a firefighter, I urge everyone to sleep with your bedroom door closed. Can literally save your life. There is a significant difference between an open door and a closed door regarding smoke conditions both night and day. Story 59. Open or ajar. Airflow. I dislike stagnant air. Cats, they can be loud. Story 60. Closed. But I'll happily sleep with the window wide open. Story 61. Closed and locked. I live with my parents, and I have a fear of them going through my room while I am asleep. I am not sure why because I have nothing to hide. Story 62. My cats roam during the night, and they do not like closed doors. Story 63. Open. The puppy likes to wander. I live in a 100-year-old school. There is no keeping out the ghosts. Story 64. Closed. Our cats like to dive bomb us in the middle of the night. Story 65. Closed. I recently found a connection between sleeping badly and having the door open. I feel unsettled and anxious, and my thoughts go to dark places when I feel someone could just walk into my room. To this day, the only two people I can sleep next to are my partner and my sister. Story 66. I have to keep the door open. My cats believe in an open door policy for my bedroom. Story 67. As a firefighter, I suggest you sleep with your door closed. If a fire starts in the home in the middle of the night, you may never wake up to know about it. Story 68. A closed door can save your life in case of fire. Story 69. Yes. Every door in the house is closed to reduce fire damage and increase the chances of escape in the event of a fire. Story 70. I sleep with the door closed because you are more likely to survive a house fire if you sleep with the door closed. Story 71. Closed. The bedroom is a pet-free area with no dogs or cats. We trained our cat not to lose her mind when she is alone. Story 72. Closed in case there is a fire elsewhere in the house. Highly unlikely, but with the door closed, it will help keep the smoke out of the bedroom, giving me a better chance to get out a window and avoid smoke inhalation. Story 73. Open because my cat comes into my room, then leaves later while I am asleep. Story 74. I used to sleep with the door open when I had a dog. Now I don't, and I keep that door closed and locked. I'm afraid I will see something in the doorway. Story 75. Closed and locked every time. House fires are not something to mess around with, and the moment an alarm goes off, I am climbing out of my window. Story 76. I sleep with my door open or closed. It does not really matter. I have 2 children that I have to check on to see if they are in bed and asleep as they are supposed to be, or using their phones and tablets. Not having to open my door and give them an early warning makes it easier to sneak their door open. Say, "Ha, caught you," and then see if they are actually doing anything wrong. If they are sleeping, they will sleep through it. Story 77. Open because if I do not, my cats will scratch at it all night. Story 78. A closed door can help you escape and survive house fires if I remember correctly. Story 79. Open because my cats would throw the biggest fit if they cannot take up 72% of the bed while my husband and I try to sleep. Story 80. My dog likes to take laps around the house at night to make sure everything is good. Then he goes to bed with me. Story 81. Closed, and the fire department will recommend everyone in your home sleep with their door closed. Not locked but closed. Story 82. Open so I can see the shadow person enter. He is always welcome. Story 83. Closed. My roommate is very loud. I don't need to hear it any more than I already do. Story 84. Before I was married, I was open to having cats. My husband is allergic to cats, so now the bedroom is the one place where cats are not allowed. Story 85. When I was living on my own, The door was open so my dog could come and go as he pleased. He usually started the night in his bed in the living room and ended up in my bed. Now that I am back with my parents for a while, I sleep with the door closed and my dog in my room because otherwise the cats will bother him all night. Story 86. My dog likes to move around the house a lot, check on everyone, and sleep next to each person a little bit every night. Story 87. The door is open because we have cats, and we would not get any sleep otherwise. They behave as if you have offended their ancestors when they cannot access an area behind a closed door. Even with the door open, we do not get any sleep because the cats jump on us all night. Having cats was my wife's idea. Story 88. Closed. I live in a van. I do not know. It would be odd to keep it open at night. Story 89. Closed to keep the cat from constantly bothering me and locked to buy an extra few seconds to grab a gun if needed. Story 90. Closed. In case of fire, it does a surprising amount to keep the fire out of the bedroom and buys you more time to escape. Also, open just feels so much more exposed, even if it is not quite latched. Story 91. Open as I have cats and they claw the carpet otherwise. Story 92. The door is normally closed and locked, but I have had a lofted bedroom for the last 2 years with no door. It is accessed by a metal spiral staircase. My solution was to place a bottle of vegetable oil at the top of the stairs in case someone breaks in. Story 93. I never close any doors in my apartment, even in the bathroom when I am using the toilet. Story 94. Closed with a pillow in front of the vent at the bottom so I do not have to see him watching me. He likes to watch. Story 95. Bedroom door open, both feet out from the covers, 1 foot off the bed and naked. I also sometimes forget to lock my front door. Story 96. Open for better airflow. With 2 adult humans, 3 large dogs, and 2 standard cats sleeping in 1 room, we need plenty of airflow. Story 97. There is actually a correct answer to this one. Closed because of fire safety. Story 98. I sleep with the door closed in the summer. I have a cat that insists on coughing up hairballs at night on the bed. In the winter, when I heat with wood, he stays in a large dog crate until I get up. Story 99. It is supposed to be closed for fire safety. My cats have their own opinions and have decided that it should stay open. Story 100. Open because I have very active cats at night, and how else will they run across my face in the middle of the night? Story 101. Cracked about 8 inches with a doorstop, just enough for my dog to go outside if she wants. Story 102. Supposedly, you are to keep it closed in case of fire, but I keep mine open because of the cat. Story 103. I was in foster care from around age 13, but they had no placements for me, so I was put in hostels that changed every few months. The longest stay I had was at age 15 in a hostel for men coming out of prison, providing them with a roof over their heads. I was a 15-year-old girl, and no one placing me there saw anything wrong with it. I never had a home of my own. I would barricade myself in my room every night, wherever I was. Ever since I had my own home, I leave the door open. I'm not completely sure why, but I think when it is closed, I feel trapped again. Having the ability to keep my door open and my own safe home around me is comforting. Story 104. I sleep with my door slightly open so that my cats can come and go without waking me up. However, it is only slightly open because I do not want to see the shadow people that live in the hallway. Story 105. Closed and locked with an additional security gate. It is dangerous here. Story 106. Closed because my dog would definitely get into trouble in the rest of our home if she had free rein in the middle of the night. Story 107. Closed because I am a naked sleeper and not everyone needs to see that. Story 108. Closed. Any light that comes from the hallway annoys me. Story 109. Closed. It is none of my business what is happening out there in my slumber. Story 110. Closed. It feels safer somehow. No intruders getting in without activating my squeaky hinges. Then I will be ready for them. Plus, it is statistically safer in case of a house fire. Story 111. Closed. I hate to be seen asleep. It provides the security of hearing if someone is going to come in while giving me enough time to get out or find a place to hide. Story 112. Closed. I think I read that if a fire starts and the door to a room is closed, you have a better chance of waking up and getting out or surviving. The door acts as a barrier to the fire. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.